Thank you, Count Corla. Taoiseach, let me quote to you the composition of a litre of fuel this morning. And it may vary around the country, but the diesel pump price that I've been given this morning is 189.9, and as I said, it may be higher in parts of the country. The government tax take is 96.58 cents. That's 50.86%. Taxes applied include excise duty, carbon tax and NORA. Now, the actual pump price today for petrol is 192.2, and that again may be higher in parts of the country. And all government duties include excise duty, carbon tax and NORA, and the actual price per litre without that at 55.23%, Count Corla, is €1.0653. So VAT is actually applied to the above taxes at 23%. Isn't that right, Taoiseach? VAT is applied to excise at 23% and then onto the base price as well. 23% added to our carbon tax, to NORA and to our excise duties. That, Taoiseach, is something that you should not be doing. And the reductions that you are reporting today are not reductions at all, are they, Taoiseach? It's the equivalent of the tax on tax. Because, Count Corla, the tax that's on the tax on a litre of petrol is actually 20 cents. That's the tax that's on the excise. That's the 20-cent reduction we're supposed to be getting. And the tax on the litre of diesel, the tax on the tax, is 18 cents. So the Taoiseach actually has 3 cents to play around with. But he's trying to tell the people of Ireland that he is doing them a favour. Doing them a favour. And I just can't believe, Count Corla. I mean, to be fair, Dick Turpin wore a mask when he robbed the people. You know, but the Taoiseach can sit here barefaced and tell them that he has done something that he believes is going to save them. Well, I can tell you, Taoiseach, it's time to be honest with the people and it's time to be transparent. This government is adding tax on tax at a time when most vulnerable and marginalised income earners in this country are choosing between heating and eating. And this government is adding VAT to excise duty, VAT on carbon tax and VAT on NORA at a rate of 23% on petrol and diesel. You've said it yourself all week. I've listened to you on the national airwaves. An unprecedented time, requiring extraordinary measures. Well, it's time you put those words into action and removed temporarily, Taoiseach, an extraordinary measure, temporarily remove all excise duties, all VAT. And don't hide behind the EU, because we are well clear on what it says in Annex 3 about VAT. And you've already heard it today. This is not an ordinary time. This is an extraordinary time, and you've used it all week in reference to taking in our refugees from the Ukraine. So apply it now to our tax rate. Save the rural Ireland people who can't afford to go to work, Count Corla. They can't afford to go to work. They can't afford it. They'll draw the dole because they won't have to pay the extra for their children to go to school on the bus. They'll go free.
Thank you. Taoiseach.
First of all, government works on behalf of the people. The revenues that government work with are generated by people in the economy through taxes. Sorry, I'm not going to. I didn't interrupt you, Deputy. Just if you have the courtesy to allow me to respond. All tax revenue, all revenue in this country has been well debated in this House and across Europe in respect of energy taxes. There are energy directives there. There are energy directives there that we cannot flout or just ignore. And what the point I'm trying to make is this, Deputy. The point I'm trying to make here is this. That
can I ask members, will you just let the Taoiseach respond? He listened. No, please. He listened in silence to the questions. Will we please have the courtesy to let him respond?
And the fundamental point I'm making is this. Revenue across the economy that's generated, be it income tax, be it VAT, be it whatever, is used to invest in services. That's what it's used for, in education, health, social protection across the board. That's the bottom line here. So government has decided now to reduce by 20 cents in petrol and 15 cents in respect of diesel. You cannot just remove all excise duty as you suggest. It just simply cannot be done. Okay? It just simply cannot be done. Okay, we're not all as intelligent as you are, clearly, from what you're just saying. But the point is you cannot do it. And I'm going to be honest in saying that. I'm not going to pretend to the public that I can solve this in the terms of
If you
what's
want to be
happened
honest.
internationally is a reality that people understand. And we have to make decisions and choices in respect of how we use people's money in terms of alleviating pressures. And in terms of the £500 million a month ago, we took decisions to particularly help those on fuel allowance and on low incomes. Most people, all people in respect of the €200 cut to the electricity
Be there looking for that
bills,
in a week or two's time.
and also, and there will be other expenditures arising out of this war. There will be other expenditures
housing assistance
arising.
payment, free transport.
Yes, there will be.
Yeah.
And we're being honest with people in saying that. And again,
Please.
again, the point is there will be more expenditure required. We're only in March, and we've already allocated now an extra 800 million in about 5 weeks because of the international crisis and because of the war. And I think that is the reality of it. No government wants to preside over escalating energy fuel prices. And we do want to cushion the blow for people, both in households, if we could do more, we would, and also in respect of the price at the pump. But it is an internationally traded commodity, and that is a fact, and we have to deal with that reality as well. And I think the measures today will help people in terms of bringing the price down somewhat. We can't, in terms of what will happen over the next number of weeks, I think the most important thing we can do as a country, first of all, is to keep advocating for a peaceful resolution and to get a cessation to hostilities and the appalling humanitarian crisis, which we do have to respond to, Deputy, and which we do need to allow expenditure for.
Deputy Murphy.
Not removing the taxes is a measure that we're all going to live to regret. Not doing so is going to drive the cost of food that you want the farmers to produce up in the heavens, adding to the cost of tractor fuel. 2 cents a litre is a joke, and they're not laughing. Not removing the tax and VAT will drive inflation through the roof, and not doing so will drive the country head on into a deep, dark recession that will make the 80s look like a holiday. And it would be funny, except the joke is on us. You have not addressed the fact that you are applying tax on tax and there is no real reduction here for anybody. Don't quote to me that it's a commodity. You've done nothing to safeguard us from the fact that the experts say a barrel of oil will rise to $200 and in effect the pump price could go to €3.50 a litre. What are you going to say to the people then? Because today the people are thinking it should be reduced when in effect last night DCI and many other suppliers put fuel up by 15 cents a litre and it was notified to customers 2 days ago. This is what you can't seem to take on board. You can't seem to join the dots. It's time to get real, because what will happen is people won't be able to afford to go to work. We're very nearly there. So you can prepare another 350 and maybe even £1 billion to add to the social welfare queue that we'll have, to the people who won't go to work. Instead they'll draw the dole and they'll avail of all that goes with it. This is time for extraordinary measures. It's time you listened
Deputy.
And you worked for the people of Ireland. It's time to be brave and grow up here, Taoiseach.
Thank you. Please, Deputy.
With respect to the Deputy, the Government is being honest with the people and will continue to be straight with the people in respect of the crisis that's before us. And I think you need to understand that there is a war on here, which is the fundamental factor behind the exponential growth in prices of oil and gas. Fundamentally. And in terms of our response to that, we're reducing the price of petrol and reducing the price of diesel. That's what the Government is deciding right now. In addition to that, the Government has decided to give additional supports to people in terms of the cut to the electricity payment of €200, in the context of €125 to those on the free fuel allowance, and also in respect of reducing the fares in public transport, which will benefit 800,000 people, and other measures as well. And we will work consistently on this to try and protect families and to try and protect people. And this is not of the Government's creation. You should be honest enough to acknowledge that.
You should be
but your desire,
and transparent.
your desire for the soundbite triumphs any time. The bottom line here. Everyone in the House, everybody in the House realises the impact of this on people on the ground, and there will be other impacts, as I've said earlier, in terms of food and in terms of and so on. And the way to go The way to go forward is in terms of energy efficiency, Deputy, is in terms of doubling down on renewables as well, and also in terms of dealing with the geopolitical situation.
Can I just say that the public who are looking in at this charade here are not impressed. They would expect us to do our business on their behalf in a positive, constructive and orderly way. Please don't make a show of us. Now,